Alright, hi everybody. This is your last review video. This is all about levels of organization and the organ systems, which has been downright everyone's favorite. I know by you guys' faces that you love this subject. Alright, let's get to review because your test is on Thursday and it's coming really soon. So, the body, if you think about it, is kind of organized like a great machine. You have all these different parts that look completely different, that have slightly different jobs, but they're all working towards one goal, which is keeping the machine going, keeping you alive. So what we're going to do, let's break down what that organization looks like, starting with the smallest part. The smallest part is the atom, which we've talked about. Smallest part of everything. It makes everything up. And after the atom, if we put a few of those together, we've got molecules. Now remember, a molecule is when we have two more atoms bonded together. Could be the same atom, could be different atoms. As long as it's atoms bonding together, we got a molecule. Lots of molecules. We've talked about a few of those. Now, kind of rolling on, keeping on with this theme, if we have a few molecules put together and we're thinking about life, we're going to get a small part of the cell. That small part of the cell is called an organelle. Now these little things have jobs inside the cell to keep them working. So far we have atoms, a few atoms together give us a molecule. A few molecules together give us an organelle. So I think everyone knows what's coming next. A few organelles together give us a cell. Everyone's favorite subject, the cell. It's the most basic part of any living thing. And each cell carries out a different function to keep the body alive. We've got so many different cells. We've got skin cells, bone cells, smooth muscle cells, nerve cells, blood cells, and other cells I've probably already repeated myself. There's a few. Now, once we have a few cells working together at the same job, they become what we call a tissue. A tissue is just a group of cells all doing the same job. We've got four main tissues in the human body: the connective tissue, the epithelial tissue, the muscle tissue, and the nervous tissue. All right, so once we get all these different tissues working together, we have organs. Organs. It's just a bunch of tissues working together. And they do a little bit more of a complex thing. Think about your heart. Think about your stomach. Think about the intestines, all the things we've talked about. They all do their own job. Now, when we have a lot of organs working together, we call that an organ system. And we've talked about a couple of organ systems. Let's take the digestive system, for example. The digestive system is made up of, our mouth, our esophagus, our stomach, and our large and small intestines. We even have the pancreas and the liver and the gallbladder helping out this system. Now, those are lots of different organs, and they all have a slightly different job, but since they're all working together to do digestion, they're part of one system. So let's review this really quick. All the parts that make us up. Starting with the smallest again, we have the atom. Then we have the molecule. Lots of molecules together, we got an organelle. Lots of organelles working together give us the cell. Lots of cells working together give us some tissues. Then we bring those tissues together. Lots of tissues together give us an organ. And then lots of organs together give us an organ system. Now, I think you guys know what I'm about to talk about next. Organ system means it's time for us to talk about some of the organ systems. So the first one we are going to talk about is the cardiovascular system. So let's get down to that. I'm going to scroll through the warm-ups here to get to the heart system or the cardiovascular system. So the circulatory system or the cardiovascular system has three parts: the heart, the arteries, and the veins. They all have a slightly different job. The heart pumps blood everywhere in the body. It's the pumper. It's pushing. It's moving the blood. The veins and arteries are the ones that actually have the blood in them. They're kind of like the road for the blood. They're the way the blood travels. Now, veins carry blood to the heart. Veins carry blood to the heart. Arteries carry blood away from the heart. Veins to the heart, arteries away from the heart. All right, let's talk about those a little bit more. Refreshing. All right. Remember the whole point of having a circulatory system is the fact that your body needs oxygen. Your blood is what moves that oxygen from your lungs everywhere else in your body. Without your blood, your body's not going to get oxygen. So it's really important that your blood moves all this oxygen everywhere else in the body using the arteries and veins and the heart. So let's talk about arteries and veins. Arteries have really thick walls. See, look at this picture right here. This artery that I'm pointing at has really thick walls, right? You can see all the muscle in here. And they have thick walls because the heart is pushing really hard that blood into it. It needs to be able to withstand this high pressure from the heart. Otherwise, it could burst. So the artery has thick walls. That way it won't break from the high pressure from the heart, because that heart is pushing that blood really hard into it. And it's got to make sure that it can stand up to that pressure. Then we have veins. Veins have thinner walls. See, look at this picture of a vein right here. See how thin the walls are compared to the arteries? Now, veins also have another thing. They don't just have thin walls, they have something called valves. See, look at this little skin flap, these vein valves that stick out. These vein valves let blood flow in one direction, but not the other direction. Blood can flow this way, but it doesn't flow backward. Blood can flow this way, but it doesn't flow backward because these valves stop the blood from going backward. All right, so after that we have, let's see what comes next. Ooh, I think I went a little farther. All right, no, I didn't. All right, circulatory system. Remember, we breathe in oxygen and we breathe out carbon dioxide or CO2. As our heart moves blood, we take in that oxygen and we breathe out CO2. And that CO2 is coming from our cells. Blood delivers the oxygen and then takes out the CO2. So as we exercise, we need more oxygen. As we exercise, the heart starts to beat faster, and it's beating faster because the body needs more oxygen. Our muscles need more air, more oxygen to work. So when you exercise, your heart rate increases, and that allows your blood to move faster around the body. All right, so one more time, let's look at this circulatory system. We're going to start here in the heart. Here in the heart, the blood with oxygen is leaving the heart through the arteries. It's going wherever it needs to go in the body, delivering the oxygen. That blood, after delivering oxygen, is going to take in carbon dioxide, or CO2. That blood with the CO2 is going now toward the heart. Since it's going toward the heart, it's in a vein. It's going toward the heart, now it's in the heart. In the heart, that blood now needs to change its CO2 to oxygen. So from the heart, it gets pumped to the lungs. In the lungs, that CO2 leaves the blood, oxygen goes into the blood. Now that blood with oxygen goes back to the heart. And from there, it gets pumped everywhere else in the body. And it's going to keep going on that cycle forever and ever unless you have a heart attack or unless you cease to exist. I figured that'd be a good time to take a drink. All right. That is how that circulatory system works. Now, there's three things I really want you to pay attention to when it comes to diseases or problems with this system. First off, a clot. A clot is incredibly dangerous in the circulatory system. It's when we have a piece of fat that's blocking blood in an artery or vein. This clot can lead to two things. It can lead to a heart attack, which is when the heart's getting no blood. If the heart's not getting any blood, that means the heart, which is a muscle, is not getting oxygen, so it stops working. That means it's going to stop beating, which means your whole body is not going to get oxygen or any blood. That's why a heart attack is so dangerous. The other thing a clot can lead to is something called a stroke. That's when the brain gets no blood because there's a clot blocking the blood to the brain. We've talked about how dangerous that is because if a part of the brain doesn't get any blood, that part of the brain gets no oxygen, which means that part of the brain can get damaged. All right, we're going to keep going now to the nervous system. Really quick, there's only a few things I want you to know here. I want you to know that the nervous system brings information from your brain to everywhere else in your body, or it brings information from your body back to your brain. Now, you might think this is obvious, but I want to tell you anyway, your nervous system is made up of nervous tissue. Nervous tissue is made up of nerve cells. I think you guys all figured that out, but just in case, I wanted to tell you. All right, so the nervous system, two parts, made up of two parts, the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. The central nervous system, middle of your body, just the center. Think about what you have in the center. Your central nervous system is made up of your brain and your spine. It makes all the decisions. All the decisions are being made up here. The peripheral nervous system is everywhere else in your body. It's all the side stuff. So this system, the peripheral nervous system, is not making decisions. It's just there to carry the messages. So that's what I want you to know when it comes to the nervous system. I want you to know those two systems in the nervous system. Now, there's also something called a reflexive action. Sometimes a signal will not go all the way to the brain. It'll just go to your spine and then right back to the muscle. This is usually called the knee-jerk reaction because your hand or your knee will move really quick. It's usually in response to danger. This signal is not sent to the brain because your body needs to react quicker than it normally does. Sending a signal all the way to the brain can take longer than just sending it to the spine and back. All right, that was the nervous tissue. It was really quick. Now on to the digestive system. All right, so this includes everything I talked about earlier, the mouth, the large and small intestine, stomach, esophagus. The whole reason of having a digestive system is so we can break down what we eat. We turn food into energy. That is the job of the that is the job of the digestive system. Now, the first step of digestion is chewing. We make it into smaller pieces. Now, in our mouth, digestion begins. Our spit, our saliva has a chemical in it called amylase. It breaks down the carbohydrate known as starch. So carbohydrates begin to be broken down in your mouth. They go from big chains to little chains. After our mouth, food travels down our esophagus into our stomach. In the stomach, there's a lot of acid. That acid breaks down proteins. The stomach churns or squeezes the food, and as it squeezes it, it melts it with acid, and it's great for breaking down proteins. After the stomach, we go to the small intestines. Now, the small intestines does two very important things. It digests fat. It does that by getting bile from the liver, and then it digests the fat. Then the rest of the small intestines is all about sucking out the nutrients from the digested food. All of this space here in the middle, that is all just there to absorb nutrients. That's why the small intestines is almost 8 meters long. It's so you can suck up those nutrients. After the small intestines, you get the large intestines. All the large intestines is good for is sucking out any remaining water from your food. And once the food is done there, it comes back out through your rectum and you've got poop and you're going to the bathroom. All right, guys, that's it. That's all for the body systems. Good luck. Please start studying as soon as you can. The test won't be easy, but I know you guys can do it. All right, you guys, I'll see you in class.